How's it going, Sur Ron, guys? So when I had ordered my RST black fork, um, it didn't have an axle in it. So I thought, hey, you know what? I should just order an axle just in case. And I found one on Reese Racing for $30 before shipping, and that was way cheaper than Luna or eBay. So I was like, oh, you know what? After shipping, it's gonna be like 10-15 bucks cheaper. So I just went ahead and ordered it, and the fork that I got online was like 150 shipped used. So I figure these forks go for about 200-250 used. So getting a replacement axle just in case I want to sell it or just have a backup just seemed logical. So on the Reese Racing website, the axle looks a lot like the original one that has the reverse threaded locking cap. But what I noticed when I ordered this new one, it has these, I believe it's 17 millimeter, and just fiddling inside the bag, the locking cap is it's threaded normally, so it's going to be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, unlike the one that it comes with. So I mean, I saw someone post online when someone had lost their end cap to just use an oil drain plug, and I'm like, no, that's not going to work because it's not reverse threaded. But I'm guessing that the RST Blacks come with this new axle with the 17 millimeter socket. So if you have the older one that uses the flush mounted 8 millimeter Allen heads, then it's not going to be the same. So let me go ahead and open this up and then take a better look at it. So the new axle is a bit different. I don't know how the fitment's gonna look. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in my RST white fork that I have right here, and then maybe I'll try it in this one. But yeah, the end over here, it's just straight up. Let me check real quick if it is 17. So here's a 17. And yeah, okay, so it's a 17 millimeter. The other side's also 17 millimeter, but it looks like you can use the 8 millimeter hex like the standard axle. Yeah, that looks about the same, as well as on the locking nut. Yeah, so the threads are definitely different on the ends of these. So yeah, that's it'll probably be easier to find a replacement for this if you lose it, because it is a standard thread. And then you could just probably run a washer. Yeah, it's probably, I'm not sure what size this is going to be, but it should be easy to find a replacement rather than having to order this or just a whole new axle. So like what concerns me is like the shoulder and here is a bit different. So I don't know if it's gonna, I mean the threading looks right, but I don't know if it's gonna lock on tightly or not. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So on the RST white fork, it does thread in properly. However, it does thread a little bit past the flat edge on this end. So if I ran this locking nut in, it's not going to be really locking into anything. So if this axle started backing out, then if the axle starts backing out, it'll stop it from going all the way out. But I can see how people are losing this because it's not sitting flush. I'm gonna go ahead and see how it fits on the RST Black. All right, guys, I made a little mistake there. When I put the axle through, I didn't have a wheel on there, so the ends of the fork were actually pinching together. So now that I have the 19-inch wheel on there, it is the axle on the other side is recessed, so the locking nut will work properly when torqued down. So it does work fine in the RST white if you are just looking for a replacement or just having an additional one on hand. And then let me go ahead and take a look what it looks like on the RST Black. I have my Marzocchi one just holding it in place because the bike wants to lean forward because it doesn't have the rear wheel on it. More about that later. All right, so with the RST Black, it fits just fine. It looks pretty cool. I really don't care for this design that much. Looks like it could snag a bit more on stuff. I do like the flush one of the original one, and the picture on the Reese Racing website showed the original one. So I mean, I don't really care. It's just nice having extra, and if I do sell this fork, it'll go along with it. So other than that, you know what? It's got these holes on there. I kind of wish it still used a. Sorry, I kind of wish it still used an 8mm, because it's gonna suck having to carry a ratchet if you're gonna be using this. But you know, if you have one in your truck or car or whatever you use to transport it, it's not that big of a deal. So with these holes, which is kind of nice, is I think you could run a zip tie through there if you do lose the locking nut on the other side to keep it from backing out. Let me see if I can figure something out. Well, look at that. So using the holes, if you did happen to lose the nut on the other side, you could just run a zip tie through it, and there's plenty of clearance on the rotor side and on the other side of the fork. Of course, you're going to get some wear when it moves around, but if you don't want to get a drain plug or whatever fits on the other side, you could run one of these. I mean, there's quick fixes for the other one too. You could run like Gorilla Tape over the end to keep it from backing out. I know people who have like the Maxell or like the toolless type of axles, they would run like a wire tie or like the Velcro type straps to hold on to the little arm that you use to torque it down. So yeah, that's pretty cool that you could just use a zip tie and run it through here if you're not going to be running the locking nut on the other side, or if you happen to lose it. So this would give you some level of security. Even if it gets loose, it's not going to come out. So that's pretty awesome. That's a plus side on the design. I still like the the flush design on the one that uses the 8mm, but I mean, pros and cons to everything, right? Cool. All right, so I got some other stuff coming up, and I'll talk about that later.